Welcome to No Substitutes, the podcast where I have some of my favorite people on to discuss what ingredients make them who they are. And today I have a very special guest. He's probably the best male performer. I mean, he has multiple trophies that say so. He's a very good friend of mine, and well, I've never actually gotten to act for you, but I've heard he's a great director. Please welcome Seth Gamble.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great introduction.
Great
Appreciate
intro.
that.
Yeah.
I do foresee in the future you will be acting for me. So let's keep that going.
Oh yeah,
Don't
I'm
go anywhere.
excited. I know.
Stick around.
Stick around for that. I know. We've discussed ideas for shoots.
Yeah.
But
Well, we got something coming up soon. So
okay. I'm
have
like a
that thing
little
we
scared.
talked about.
I know. I'm a little scared, but I'm
that's
also
not much
excited.
acting though. More visual, pretty stuff. So
Yeah. Well,
But-
that'll be fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's up?
Not much.
I'm here.
Yeah, you're here.
Not a substitute.
No substitutes? Not a substitute. How was the drive over?
It was fine. I came
Yeah.
from Encino. We're shooting a little scene. It was cool. It was like
Nice.
Yeah.
Who are you working for?
just a company I started directing for a little bit. They're doing some cool shit. I can't remember. They didn't launch yet, so I can't really get into detail about it. But it was fun.
Nice.
It's
Nice.
high end pot girl summer looking chicks, high glam, pretty shit. So it's fun.
Ooh, yeah. No, you're very good with the visual stuff.
Yeah.
Even everything I've seen so far I was giving Sydney all the praise the other day.
She's awesome.
Yeah, you guys are like the new duo, I feel like.
Yeah, no, we're great. I really appreciate her. She's definitely elevated like my visions, and obviously collaborating with her, it's been awesome. It's just great. And also it's really great to work with a woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I really like having a lot of women around me when I come to producing and making things in general, because I feel like you're all the most important thing to the business. So at the end of the day, it's like people need to I just like to see women thrive in the industry, because at the end of the day, back in the day, it was a very male dominated everything, and I'm very pro female thing. That's why it's very important to me where like you'll see where I'll be like created by both of us. I don't just add, generally speaking, I try to give everybody credit that works on it, because I feel like creating's a team effort. It's not really one man job,
Yeah, no. I always say like my favorite thing, why I love doing studio work, is being on set reminds me kind of working in the kitchen.
Nice.
It's like the same environment of like everyone has their own rules, and you can't really do anything without one of them, whether it's lighting, sound, makeup, like everyone has a purpose. And at the end of the day, even if it's like a hard day, you kind of feel a little more fulfilled, because you're like, wow, we really created something beautiful, and we stuck together, we got through the day, and now we have something to be proud of.
100%. It's cool. It's like, and two, like, one thing falls, everything falls, but if everybody's on the same page and there's good leadership, that's something that I had to learn as when you start making things, or like as if you're a head chef or something, it's the same thing, right? Like you have to be a good leader to be able to cultivate fun, efficiency, making things, understand, getting people to like respect what you need from them, what they need from you. And it's like, when you first when I first started directing, I kind of got like thrown at it. Like it wasn't like a slow process. Like I was like, hey, make this movie now, make this massive movie. Like it's like, whoa, like, so it was like I kind of had like a really fast tracked learning experience in the directing position and producing position. So
when did you start directing?
2021.
Wow. Okay. Damn.
Yeah. So it's been like 3 years. So
yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's almost better having like the performer experience and then start directing, because I feel like you really understand how to like make the set feel comfortable, and like, I don't know.
That was my take on it. I thought that was a good thing. And also it's understanding too, like I feel like it's easier for me to get better sex scenes.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like I'm not like I don't really micromanage that part of the job.
Yeah.
And then also with acting performances, like a lot of the people I've worked with, like you end up having moments, it's obviously not like everlasting, but especially I've been fortunate, but like I've pretty much been intimate with every single person in the business at this point in time. So like I've had that relationship with everybody. So like when to feel the safety of being intimate with someone, and then you feel the safety of like working for them and with them, because I look at everything more like a with than a for.
Yeah.
But like when someone works with me like when I'm directing, you get that energy of like there's more comfort there. So like even from an acting performance or a performance perspective, like you get a better job.
Yeah.
You get someone actually they're feeling more comfortable. So there's stuff as an actor, as a performer, they'll let loose more and feel more like at home. So like you're getting, I feel like you're just getting a better, you can see it on camera.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. That's even like so far what I've seen with Lucid. That definitely speaks for itself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. It's my baby. It's a lot of work, man. It's just, building an adult site is not, getting it to the place you want it to be financially, getting it to the place you want it to be creatively. Like it's a labor of love. It's not something you come in with thinking it's going to be like a quick turnaround. It's like, you have to be committed to understanding that this is like a time. It's going to take a lot of time for you to get where you want to be with that, because it's not, at the end of the day with that, I'm doing it with not a huge amount of team or anything like that. I have a great team. YPP is amazing. They're doing all the back end stuff, and I have a great team on the ground. But it's also like, you have these larger entities, that we have and we all work for, and they have a whole corporate structure, and there's all these different things. So it's a little easier for them to operate. Where I do it, and now it's just like doing it. You just have to do it. And it's like just keep going. So
no, I get that. Mm-hmm. In what ways would you say has the industry gotten better since when you first started?
A lot of ways. Yeah. I mean, I think now, like, I think on the biggest scale of things, like I think also like, we put a lot of emphasis on like comfortability and consent. That wasn't really prevalent back in the day. Consent was always there, but it wasn't like, there wasn't such a dynamic to it. Like there wasn't like, you do consent checklists, you do, conversations. It pretty much used to rely on like me and you having a conversation and being like, hey, what are you good with? What are you not good with? Cool, let's just go. Yeah. At the end of the day too. And like, it just kind of was the way it was. I feel like nowadays with like there being more so like independent ways to make money in the business, I feel like it does give the talent more of an ability to actually live with more value, as opposed to, because when you have a job like adult and you work only studio and that's the only thing that exists, you rely on the studios hiring you. Because back in the day, if you wanted to be like a bigger name, like you basically had to be in films that were like, bigger budgets. You had to make the box covers. Like if you were a girl, you had to get on a box cover. Like it was like as many box covers as you could possibly get on. You know what I mean? And that was with the hope that that movie sold with you being the box cover, right? Yeah. Whereas now, like you have every avenue to like build your career through your social media, through your OnlyFans, through your any type of different type of platform that's out there. With the hub rankings and different. There's all these different avenues where you can find your own money and you can find your own value. So you can set your value with producers or companies or whatever it is. So I think that's great as talent. I think for talent that really has been elevated. I think nowadays the structure is a lot more corporate. Back in the day, it was not. All the studios I worked for, I used to know all of them in Chatsworth. Like you would go place to place. I think there's some things that I feel like are great and some things I feel like I kind of miss. Yeah. Like I miss the fact of like the first big feature I'd ever done in the business that was like the one that I really played a lead and I was like, oh, this is great. At the time period, it was like I'd done so many parodies. Like I parodied so much shit.
Oh yeah, you were like the face of parodies.
Yeah, so the one that kicked that off was there was a press release that a male performer got casted as John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. And I was like, that's fucking bullshit. Because there's nobody in the business that should be playing him but me. That's how I felt at the time. I don't know, I had like a stick up my ass when I saw that press release. So I got in my car and I drove to the guy that owned the studio that was shooting it. that was making this movie, and I went in there and I was like, hey, is so-and-so there? Yeah, who are you? And I'm like, my name's Seth Gamble. And they're like, yeah, no, I think I've heard of you. Yeah, sure. So I walk in there, I was like, hey, I should be playing this part, not anybody else. No one else should be playing this role. And he was like, but we already casted it. And I was like, well, that's funny. Why don't you give me the script? And I already have like a butt chin, but I already put a little black in my chin. And I just was like, and I started doing all this weird Travolta shit. And they were like, you're right. No one in the business should play him but you. And I took that role from whoever that male performer was. And because I wasn't really getting those opportunities, so I just went to a place that I could grab it. Nowadays, it's a lot different. Like you have to make a standard of an algorithm. You have to make a standard of your brand has to be valuable. You have to show that like you're promoting their stuff. You know, you have to show that we all ask for certain amounts of rates, but like, I think once I became a producer and a company owner, you start understanding that like, so-and-so could ask me for so much money because she is a big name on Twitter or X and, all those platforms, and also like, have a huge like influencer background. And then I shoot her and she asked me for more money than the normal girl in the business, and it doesn't sell. Right. So then like, how are you, that's the one thing that we need to figure out, because like trying to justify, but it makes sense. If you're making a bunch of money on some other platform, why are you working anyway? Well, pay me this because I don't really need to be doing it. Well, then why even bother at all? Yeah. That makes sense. But those are little differences that I see. So it's hard to say what's positive and what's negative. It's just, those are just several different. It's also one thing about the business before, it was a lot harder to get in.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a lot harder to get in. As a guy especially, it was a lot harder to get in. Like you had to, I just got kind of like, mine was completely an accident. Like I had no goal or intention of doing this job at all. Like never was a dream of mine. I never was like, oh, I want to do adult movies, like at all. But if you did, you had to have like a girlfriend and she was already doing it. And then you came in the business, or you just knew somebody that knew somebody. It wasn't like there was a easy route. So where nowadays, like you basically, can just go online, find an agency, or you can just bug us and ask us how you get into porn, which we get a lot of. Right. And a lot of people just end up doing it. Guys, girls, it doesn't matter. Like the opportunity is open. So
I think some of my favorite things is when Quasar posts screenshots of his DMs. It's just like some dude in India or something being like, I would like to do porn. How do I?
Yeah. I have that same guy. Yeah. His name's I Know Him.
Yeah.
Fucking guy.
So, anytime Quasar is always like, why?
Yeah, no, it's pretty prevalent, But that's another thing. It's like I do miss that end of it. I miss that exclusivity of it. Also, unfortunately, the truth is like being a adult, whatever, porn star or porn actor or porn performer, whatever the fuck you want to call it, it's not really a fantasy anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like we're all on our, a lot of you girls and guys in the business, and like a lot of people, like it's why I've never really dug into my own platforms. Like I still do them, but I'm really like kind of like a little still. I try to keep that mystique a little bit because we're giving away our personal lives all the time, social media, this and that and this and that. So like people like really know you, like at least whatever you're letting them know. So they don't have that like idea of like, the Jenna Jameson on the DVD, and then they see her and they're like, oh my God, that's Jenna Jameson. It's like, oh my God, there's that girl, and she had that crazy outburst on Instagram, and oh my God, and that girl, like she drives that car because I've seen it on her social media. It's like it's very, or this guy fucking said this thing or what, because it's like we're all, we're all, and that's the cool thing is like we're all like we're so vulnerable on camera that we're able to be vulnerable publicly. Yeah. But at the end of the day too, we're giving a lot away, and I totally respect and admire people that do that. I do. I really fucking do. I'm a little more private. Yeah. So it's harder for me to lean into, like, hey, I'm making breakfast and this is like where I go and get my hair cut and this is what I, and like I take shits at 8 a.m., like it's like I don't, I don't know. Like it's just, it's just.
So I shouldn't ask you what your morning routine is?
Sure, actually, I'm good with it. I'm cool to talk about it. I just get.
You're just saying you're not gonna make that kind of content where you're like, "What's up, y'all? Seth Gamble here. make a smoothie on my way to set, and
No,
like you're
not
not.
really. I'm trying.
I get that. I mean,
I'm like, yo, look, eggs. You know what I
Eggs,
mean?
yeah.
Like, look at those.
No, I mean, even me, I feel like I'll catch myself feeling more confident with social media, but I just cannot bring myself to do like the vlogs or like the TikToks and be like, get ready with me. Like, I even tried to do that recently, and I was just like, how the fuck do people do this? I can't look at the screen and also like get ready. So I
did one the other day. I was like brushing my teeth. I was like, you should do this.
Yeah.
This is good for you.
This is good for
like,
you.
That's like, I was
yeah. You're like, this is the most you can
like,
get.
I was like, what? Like, and keep it going. You know,
Yeah.
when you have the electric one and it does that weird little thing where it turns off, that means go for another minute. You know what I mean? I'm like giving toothbrushing tutorials. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. You know, it's like, I don't know. Like I said, like the people that do it, I give them a lot of credit because it's like, to be able to do that, talk to a camera like you're having a genuine conversation with a human being. That's another thing. We're in that weird time period where it's just very different. Like I still grew up in a time period, and I'm not old by any means, 36 years old, but I did grow up in a time period where, like, you know, in my single days, I would go to a club or a bar and I would be like, hey, what's up? How are you?
Yeah.
And now if you do that, you're a weirdo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't even go and just be like, but also it did give me better social skills with people.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I feel like, you know, a lot of people are like very socially awkward. And I also have that ability as well because I grew up in a time where you didn't have a choice. Like you had to, like, that was the only way you were going to meet people. So you kind of got stuck in this situation where like, you could still meet people now from like never meeting them.
Yeah, no, it's like crazy the amount of friends I have on Instagram. I don't think I've ever met.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of a different energy.
Yeah, and sometimes it's weird, and then there's some people where you're like, wow, I actually genuinely feel connected to this chick.
It's like you have a prison pen pal. It's
yeah,
crazy.
Very much. But they're hot, and I like their thirst traps. So it's not some scary dude with face tattoos.
No. Only one can dream.
Only one can dream. That's my type for sure. Well, then what does your diet consist of to meet your fitness goals?
Right now, over the past like 8 or 9 months, I pretty much cut like, I kind of like don't do gluten anymore, and I took sugar out of my diet, and mostly raw butter, raw milk, beef, chicken, fish. I started drinking like I had a big problem with soda, so I started drinking these like Oleo sodas. They have like 2 grams of sugar in them.
Oh, nice.
When I want one, if I crave that, I just have that. And generally speaking, though, a lot of fats and proteins and stuff like that. Generally, it's very like bulletproof, carnivore-esque type of vibes.
Nice.
But it's been really good. Like I have a really good, sustainable amount of energy.
That's important.
I'm not living off of like trying to get like fixes
of
different, you know, energy drinks here and there and stuff like that.
Oh,
I do drink every morning. I do drink like coffee with a tablespoon of butter, MCT oil, and like that's it.
That sounds rich.
And raw milk. But it's actually super good for you. Like,
that's
butyric acid is like ridiculously healthy for you, which is crazy. Like I think people, I don't know. That's just been my experience. My experience has shown me that for me, that type of diet really helps my brain. It really helps my body, and there's some research on it, and it works well for me. You know?
That's also important. I think like there's more people in the industry I wish prioritized like their diet, because I think a lot of people want to be fit, want to look good on camera, but a lot of people don't prioritize like health.
I'll be honest, I didn't for like my entire life until like 10 months ago. And it actually, I tried. I've never really been a nasty eater. Like I never liked candy. I never like my biggest 2 flaws were like, I had a soda issue, an ice cream issue, and a pizza issue. But it never was like a daily.
No, yeah.
Right? It was like, okay, I want ice cream, I'm eating a half a gallon. You know what I mean? I want a pizza, I'm just gonna jam down a pie.
Yeah.
So what had actually happened was I was doing a scene, and my back was like, I kept having all this like weird like pains, like physical pain.
Yeah.
Like just like, oh my, like, and what would happen is like muscles on my body would just get swollen. Like not swollen like visually, but like inside. I was like, man, like my neck would just be like fucked up. And I was like, man, this is crazy. And it always bothered me, but I never really paid attention to it. I kind of just always been the type of person to kind of just push to the pain. It's kind of my energy, always it was. And one day I was doing the scene, and I'm kind of a very intense performer, and this girl was very small, and she was like into very aggressive, intense stuff. So we talked about some of the things that she liked, and there's this thing that I've done in my career where like I can do this move where it appears that I'm holding a girl up by her throat and walking her around the room.
Okay.
So like I'm holding her by her throat, and I'm like walking around the room. And she weighs 95 pounds, so it was very easy for me to do this with her.
Yeah.
But my back was hurting a little bit that day, and I was like, oh, it wasn't anything abnormally hurting. It felt like maybe it's sore. I was working out or something. So I decided to like walk her. I grab her I'm making out with her. I grab her up, I grab her throat, and I start walking her around the couch by her throat as it like disappears. Because it's really, she's just holding on my wrist. So it's not really like, I'm not choking around like that. Yeah. But it looks really intense. Yeah. So I get around to the other side of the couch, and all of a sudden my hip goes like this. And I was like, oh shit, the fuck was that? And hold on, I need a second. I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, I think I'm good. Finished the scene, no big deal. Went to bed that night, no thing. I get out of bed. This entire area of my body spasmed, and I was on the ground crying for like 3 hours. I had to take me to the hospital. And I ended up going to the hospital. They're like, oh, it's cortisone shot. And then I got a little more blood work and stuff like that. Come to find out I'm like super gluten intolerant. And I basically was causing massive inflammation. And the sugar and the gluten was causing massive inflammation in my body. So nothing physically happened to me. Like nothing actually. It was just your body reacting from all the bad shit I've been putting in my body. And now I'm turned 35 at the time. I'm like, holy shit. And then I just went like, okay, well, fuck it. I'm going on this fucking diet. I'm doing it. It wasn't hard actually. I mean, because I'm sober and I was able to like consistently figure out a way to do that. When I want to do something that it's not good for me anymore. Yeah. If I really put my mind to it, I can do it. Yeah. So well, you've always seemed to be really good with discipline. Yeah, it just kind of happened 7 years ago when I decided to clean up. But before that, I can be, but I didn't care. Right. Yeah. So, do you think getting sober helps a lot with that? Oh, hell, getting sober changed my entire life. Yeah. Like without my sobriety, like all this shit that you ribbied off about my life and career, it just doesn't exist. I know. You know what I mean? Like to be frank, because it was just like I always had, when I got sober, the common consensus of me was, wow, what a talented guy. But damn, man, can you get his shit together? You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was a lot. There's like this quote, and it's the saddest thing in life is a waste of talent. And truthfully, the way I was living my life was wasting away altogether. And it was a lot of like what he could be. What he could be. People who love me or care about me, like, man, what you could be. I had a lot of fun, and I did a lot of things. I succeeded a lot that way. I did. I can't lie. I did. I succeeded a lot being a fucking mess. But to the levels that I believed that I was capable of, and I hoped I was capable of, and that was also a fear of mine. I didn't get sober. I feel like one of the fears is like at that time of my life is I didn't get sober because I didn't want to not live up to what I thought I could live up to. And if I didn't get sober, I never had to try. Yeah. Right. So it was like this, okay, well, if I just keep doing this, it's cool. Like I'm reaching this bar, but like, I'm never really putting that 100% in because I'm only putting 100% of the 50% that's working, so, it completely changed my life. It's something that I'm so grateful for. I didn't do it on my own. I still don't do it on my own. Like I have a lot of people around me that, in sobriety and different people that I count on to, kind of keep that mindset, and understand like what addiction is, and what the disease of that is, and how to understand, how to engage it and engage and just how to kind of navigate life with it. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, it's like, it was really hard, and being sober, it's just not hard for me anymore. You know what I mean? Which is, I'm really lucky. I don't know, or fucking blessed. I don't know. I don't know if lucky is the right word, but like, it's a hard thing it's hard to do it, but somewhere something left me where it's just part of my life now. Yeah. No, I feel like, I like what you said too about the, like making an excuse almost to not get sober because then you're scared. It's scary to not live up to all these expectations, but
at the end of the day, you overcame it, and it's like a very brave thing to do.
Well, a guy said something to me when I first got sober. He goes, what he said was the best thing. It was one of the things that really like got me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, hey man, do all the things that you're told to do here and do it for a whole year. And if you don't like what you have, we'll return your misery. And when I heard that, it changed my life. Because I was like, okay, I could do it for a year. Right. I could do exactly what I'll drink the fucking Kool-Aid, man. I'll do whatever the fuck you tell me to do for a year. And let's see what happens. And things just got so good. Like there's so many things in my life that I'm so blessed with, and like in general, and not just like, not the success, not all those things, but like how I feel inside, like generally most of the time, like I don't want to give that up. You know what I mean? Like that's too much. Like me going back to that would completely dissipate, and I can't. I've just built a life internally that's so good. It's too good to give up.
That's awesome.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That does.
And that's available to people. It's just you have to do it.
Yeah.
It's not wanting it or needing it. It's just doing it.
Who are some people that have helped you grow?
Man, I mean, obviously, like doing this sober thing with Kenzie has been, you know, it's watching. We grew together during this process, like, and so that was interesting to see two alcoholics kind of growing, recovering alcoholics kind of growing together and seeing things in each other that heal each other. Because it's like Emma's like, oh shit, I kind of do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was big. That was a big proponent. Like my friend Tiff, she's been a lot of big help. A lot of guys that I've been sober with. I have a buddy named Russell who's been like a huge influence in my life. Early on, you know, I had a lot of guys in sobriety. Obviously, I'm not gonna go through names, but you know, recently, over the last year, I met someone that happened to come to find out is my cousin. He's been like a big person in my life these days. Yeah. He's been great. You know, he's a wild card like me, and I'm really lucky. But like, you know, also like, to be honest with you, after a while, when you do this thing, when you do sobriety, it's like when people ask me to help them, it helps me. So that's been like really where you're gaining. You're trying to get to a place to where you clean up your side of the street. You do all the things that are right for you, and then you go to a place where you can help other people with that. And then that stops making me think about me so much. Because addiction truly is a self-centered disease. It's like you think everything's going on with you as the center of the universe. It's not really narcissism, but it's more like whatever's going on between these two fucking ears is so fucking intense of anything, and I can think of the worst case scenario all the time, is that I can't focus on what's in the present. So when I can't focus on the present, I'm just in my head about whatever. And then from that, it's constantly me, not me, like what's going on with me, because like it's just what the disease is, what makes you feel. So it's trying to find ways to remove the me and think of everybody else, and then also take care of me and love me as opposed to trying to pleasure me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I don't know, maybe that's a little too deep.
No, that's perfect. No, that's perfect. What's like your favorite dish from your childhood?
My favorite dish? Like food dish?
Food. What's your favorite food
My
from your
food
childhood?
dish. Wow.
I don't even think I know where you grew up.
I grew up in Florida.
Okay, I did know.
Like my absolutely one favorite dish as a child. Well, I was kind of like, when I was really young, like I was taking care of these like Hispanic women. And they used to make this, I can make it now actually. It's like, it's this stuff called adobo, but it's like, it's not adobo, it's like a saffron or something. It's like this orange, it's made by Goya, but it's like this orange seasoning. And orange is the food, but it's like this Hispanic seasoning. Yeah. But you could, I would put like, you put like potatoes in it, put like vegetables in it, and you basically make it almost like a soup. And then you put like, you actually put like chicken broth in it, but you could use chicken or beef or whatever it is. And then you kind of let it sit in the fridge and it turns into almost like a stew. Like I really like stew.
Yeah, stews are.
I like
yeah.
stews in anything. Like if
Yeah.
you stew that shit out, I'm gonna eat the fuck out of it. You know what I mean?
Noted.
Big stew guy.
Big stew guy.
Big stew guy. But generally speaking, weirdly enough, like at this point in my life, my favorite dish is steak. Like steak.
Yeah.
I love Italian food too. It's always been one of my favorites. The truth is though, like at this point, with this like anti-gluten shit that I'm got going on,
You're like,
I gotta find
no.
like specific type of pastas to get that shit down.
Yeah. No, it doesn't help that Remy's favorite restaurant is
Dantana's.
Dantana's.
I love Dantana's. We can get a steak there.
There you
know what I mean?
go. Yeah.
But I'll eat it. Like that's the thing. Like I think like 3-4 days of the month, like I'll eat a meal that's like totally bad for me. Like still this day. Like even on this diet, I'll be like, hey, you know what? Fuck it.
Sometimes you gotta
18-inch
indulge.
pizza. Let's
Yeah.
just fucking go. And I'm just to the face. And then the next day, like horrible inflammation and horrible mood and horrible.
They need to make like what diabetics have, like their little is it
For
insulin?
gluten
Yeah,
people,
but
yeah.
just for gluten intolerance.
Yeah, no, it didn't. Luckily, I'm not like a celiac. You know what I mean? So I get away with it.
No,
So it's
that's
like,
true.
so like it takes about 24 hours, and there's actually these things called like gluten guardians, and there's like little like enzymes you can do to help.
Gluten Guardians. It sounds like a really dorky like.
Oh, it's a brand. It's like a
No, I
brand.
know,
yeah.
but it sounds like it'd be like a
You should
really
sponsor me.
Gluten Guardians, like a really dorky basketball team,
Yeah, no, seriously.
like rec basketball team.
does.
Should we start one?
And then all you have to do is throw bread at them, and they fucking die.
And they fucking die.
Just like everybody covers themselves in yeast,
Oh.
like flour.
Just flour.
You know they're like the best team in the
Have
game, the
flour
best
just
team in the
like
league,
this.
unless you put on flour. It's
Just
like their
put
kryptonite.
flour right here.
Yeah, right. Holy shit.
What about some like guilty pleasure food? Oh, I
Ice
guess
cream.
that, yeah.
Ice cream, pizza.
Ice cream.
I'd say burgers, but I eat burgers without the bread, so it's actually good for me. So the meat's good for me, so I don't really have that issue anymore. But bread,
Yeah.
bread's a guilty pleasure.
What's a, like, I'm also curious, what's like a unpopular food opinion you have?
An unpopular food opinion, like
For
that
your,
I
yeah,
think?
that you think.
I mean, I don't know. It depends on the grouping, because at the end of the day,
That's
like, I feel that like a more fat meat based carnivore based diet is healthier for you
Oh, yeah.
physically. I believe that based on like
I'm not,
research.
I don't care if we upset the vegans.
But I do like I'm all for people who think whatever's
Yeah,
good
yeah.
for them, or like whatever. Like I like if I don't care what anybody else does. I think for me,
Yeah.
I just feel like physically it's better. Like there's a lot more nutrients in that stuff.
Yeah.
I believe that if you go back into history, like there's hunter gatherers, and we're hunting. At the end of the day, like and you ate. That's what you did. So. But also with the vegan diet, I understand it. I understand the idea of like having the mentality of like, you know what? Like I have a thing with animals. I love animals. I don't like this happening with animals. I do believe that a vegan diet for a couple of years is actually like does play a good role.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I do feel like you're missing out on a lot of nutrients that you might have to like supplement. So I just for me that might be unpopular to like a crowd that doesn't believe in that. So
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
depends how hungry I am. You know what I mean? I'm kind of a garbage disposal.
Oh, that's
like,
nice to know.
Yeah, I pretty much if someone makes food for me, like I'm eating it.
Oh,
Like I'm not
nice.
like
Yeah.
I'm not a picky person when it comes to that. Like,
Okay.
Unless you burn a steak or something, then I'm like, yo, what's wrong? There's a problem with
Thankfully, I've not done that yet.
that. I go a little too rare sometimes. That's about it though.
Mm.
I won't wait till it cooks a little longer. I'm into bloody steak though. I like it between rare and medium rare. Like I don't even know what that would be called.
Rare and medium rare.
Like that perfect mark in between.
Okay, I was thinking of like rare and rare for a second. I was like,
I like it between rare and rare.
Yeah. Medium rare. Yeah, because sometimes medium or medium rare.
It's too like cooked.
Yeah, it's too chewy.
And then too
I don't want my steak to be
it's-
chewy. I want it to go down smooth.
Yeah, and then too rare sometimes is like, okay, am I gonna get sick here? Like
Yeah.
it's like
Somebody.
carpaccio though, it's
Yeah.
raw meat.
I call it, if it's medium and above, I'm like, okay, so you like dog food.
Yeah, no, for sure. You like old baseball plates. Like,
Yeah,
just
like TV dinner.
just go to Denny's and get a T-bone.
Just go to Denny's. Oh, I'm curious.
You know, it's bad when you go to a restaurant, they won't even make something medium rare.
Oh yeah.
They're like, no, we only do medium and above. Like, what kind of meat are you making me? Bro?
Yeah, you're like, that's not steak.
Yeah, no.
I don't know what kind of cut that is.
Another
but
unpopular thing is that pasteurizing food is bad for you.
You think it is, or you're saying
I think it
people?
is.
You okay?
I think it is. I
pasteurizing-
believe that I eat raw unpasteurized milk and butter, like no
Oh, yeah.
pasteurization.
I don't like pasteurization.
I
know it's.
But they're
yeah.
trying to claim that like it's going to cause negative bacteria in your body. When I noticed,
If you eat it raw, or
well, if you have raw
but,
anything that like a milk or butter or like a dairy product, because truthfully, like I've been eating anytime I have raw.
Maybe
butter,
if you eat an expired dairy product.
Yeah, but they're saying like because
But-
the reason they pasteurize it is to remove any type of bacteria that might be negative, right?
Yeah.
So, but the truth is like if I thought I was lactose intolerant and then I
Mhm.
started eating raw these things and I don't have any issue with dairy anymore. So
yeah,
like,
same. I'm like
Especially you go to Europe, you fucking for some reason their cheese and all that shit
Yeah.
doesn't do nothing to you.
No.
You feel great.
Yeah.
It's like what?
no, for sure.
So
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to trust when it comes to media and food anymore. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the question. Ooh, what's the most memorable place you've traveled to? I don't know if you've done a lot of traveling or not.
I've done not a lot, but I've done some.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really one.
Okay.
I would say when I went to Jamaica, I like lived like I didn't live. I traveled and vacationed there for like a month, and we stayed like in Jamaica. Like we
Oh,
didn't
wow.
stay like I stayed with people who were really residents there,
Mm-hmm.
who were like in the area, and I really got to experience it. It was such a beautiful experience,
Oh, that's
just in general.
Mm-hmm.
And then living in Hawaii was it's not out of the country or anything like that, but it was just like living
Right.
there. It feels like you are though. Like
Yeah.
it's just because of the it's a different lifestyle, but being there was definitely a great experience.
When did you live in Hawaii?
2021, 2020 to 2021, about 8 months of it. 9
Oh,
months of it.
nice.
I was traveling back and forth for work,
Oh,
and I was coming back. Yeah, me and Kenzie decided when we got married that during COVID or something, like I don't know. She was like, I always wanted to move. She went to Hawaii, and she's like, I always want to move to Hawaii, and like I don't know. We were just locked in our houses for like fucking ever, and I was like,
yeah,
fuck
might
it,
as
we're
well go
moving.
be in paradise.
You know what I mean? And then I figured, like, I'd recently just kind of gotten a really good, started with the company that I've been with, which is like, Gamma Adult Time,
Yeah.
and they gave me the opportunity to like come back and work and be able to like live in Hawaii for a while. And then
That's
I realized it was like a little overpriced. I realized it was a little boring.
awesome. Very
and,
slow.
Very slow.
Yeah.
But I really needed it. I really liked that idea of like the relaxation and the quiet. You know what I mean? Just for that time period in my life.
Yeah. You're just someone that I know is constantly on the go that I cannot.
It was very difficult. For me.
I was
It was
like, I can't-
very difficult.
I could not picture you.
No, but
in
now
Hawaii.
it took me a minute, but like I was able to actually get that.
Yeah.
Like I had never really like get it. I don't really
Yeah.
get it. It's not. I just don't know how to stop. Like, it's like I mean, that's kind of been an ongoing trend in my life. Like, how do I stop this? It's like, but I don't. I mean, a lot of things I like being on the go. So.
Yeah. And I mean, I think taking your energy that you had from being an addict and now putting it into like your creative drive and all this other great stuff like came out of your career because of it.
For sure.
Just redirecting that energy.
100%.
There's a lot of people I know who are recovering addicts who don't have that quality. Like, I don't know.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like I'm just a very driven person. Some people would say. I also grew up very differently. Like there was a time in my life, early on in my life where, had the family life, everything was together. And then, there was a split in the family and I kind of went down a different road. And that road took me to like having to really be self-sufficient and take care of myself and kind of learn how to be I was a survivor of a lot, so when you have that mentality growing up, it's like there's certain things that you just have to do. And it's like, you're just like, everything is almost like, some people be like, oh, Seth is such an overachiever. It's like, no, I'm a survivor. Like I'm the type of person that's like, there's no other fucking option.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I feel that same way because I grew up in like my childhood, I feel like I was in constant fight or flight. And I feel like when you grow up with like a nervous system that's like never relaxed and in that mindset of, yeah, people think you're an overachiever, but you're like, no, I just am so scared to ever be like, I don't ever want to not have money, even though, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's that too. Like
Yeah,
for them,
whether it's money or work or
I just
I
want
don't know.
stability. Like I
Yeah.
want to be able to be okay. I want to be able to like, to me, it's like a roof over my head, a car I could drive,
Mhm.
food in my stomach. I mean, cars even like not even top of that list, but like having all those stable things gives me the opportunity to do things I love because
Mhm.
it gives me time to be around people I love.
Mhm.
It gives me time to spend time at home with uh, my wife and my dogs, and just have that stability of knowing like my livelihood and my living is paid for. And it's nice to be able to think. Speaking of food, like that's kind of what all my money goes is like food,
Mhm.
production stuff, or
Yeah.
like I don't really spend money on shit. Like
Yeah, no, you're not like
I
a
have a
materialistic person.
no, like I mean, I buy shirts from like I'm not. I mean, I'll buy a nice suit or something decent for like something like an occasion or something. But this is like my daily uniform almost.
Mhm.
And basically, it just gives me the ability to just be like, okay, cool. Like I want to go buy a $200 steak tonight for dinner, and like
Mhm.
randomly can do that without being like, oh my god, I spent $200 on a steak for
Yeah,
dinner.
yeah.
It's kind of like just being able to like sustainably live and be healthy and take care of myself, and you know. Yeah, it's just important to me, and also like grow. I want to grow. There's something to be said about financial stability. It's like financial stability is it really helps you be able to focus on other things.
Yeah.
And I grew up
No.
without it, like a lot of it in my life. So it was like I never want to have to deal with this again. Like I never wanted to deal with not having shit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even need to be like glamorous shit. I just like
No.
the normal shit,
Yeah.
like my car payment being paid and
Mhm.
not feeling like I'm gonna like not be able to pay things like my
Yeah.
rent and shit. You know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
didn't want to ever live like that again. So I just make it a point to make sure I can, grow successfully as much as I can financially because I don't want to deal with that shit.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah.
I always when people ask me about the like one of the reasons why I started doing porn, and I don't think people understand, especially if they didn't grow up uh, like I grew up without money. So when I started making that kind of money, going from like a struggling line cook to having like 10K in my bank account, like I I always tell people I'm like there's such a good shift, positive shift that comes with that this industry gave me because I got to experience that for the first time. I never knew what that felt like.
Yeah. And people go different directions with that.
Yeah.
Like I know like people like myself who are like, I'm very like organized with what I need money wise, do all these things. And then I know people who had nothing and then they get something and they're like, they just spend it all the time because they're like, oh my God, I finally have it. Right. So it's like finding, I guess my thing took me down the road of like, okay, I want to be stable. Like not like, oh my God, like I finally, it's not like, I'm not constantly thinking about the toy my mom didn't get me when I was 6. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and that's another way to go about it because that's also where that not having.
Yeah. Or I even know, I feel like, because I got in the industry, well, you got in at 18, but I feel like as a girl in the industry, it might be a little different. I got in at 24, so I feel like I got in with, well, I was already not really a materialistic person, but I got in kind of being like, okay, I don't want to spend this money. And then I would meet like the 19-year-olds or the 18-year-olds, and they're like always at Hustler or always like shopping. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. It's like that stresses me out. I'm like, someone needs to tell these girls about like savings accounts and
Well, I just talked about this the other
an
day.
IRA.
No, it's true, but it's tough because like you got to realize like too like even anybody at that age. Like I started at 18 years old. You think about it, even because when I was that age, I wasn't being as good as I am now. I'm 36, double that. I've been in the business, 18, 30 to 36 now. So,
Yeah.
you get to a point where you're like that age, and like, when I got in at that time, it was like, oh my God, I'm making this money legally, which is awesome. You know what I mean? And being like, holy shit, like,
how does an 18-year-old handle making better money legally when they've never had it? So like the idea of them handling money properly is like or just handling life in the world of entertainment.
Yeah.
And then possibly getting like getting fame at that age when you haven't really like psychologically matured to a level that, because I remember when I was 18, I thought I was such a grown ass motherfucker, but I was not. I think 25, I thought I was a grown ass motherfucker, and I was not.
Yeah.
I feel like it, once I hit my 30s, was like, oh, okay, now I wish I had this brain like 10 years ago. But no, it's really tough at that age it's hard because it's like, you could get involved in the wrong things if you don't have the right guidance, you're not around the right people, and you're that age.
Yeah, and then also maybe even agreeing to things that you don't know that you're not okay with.
Yeah, because you don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's very tough.
Yeah. I wish there was like, I don't know, it'd be really nice to make videos or like do like talks with girls that get into the industry. Like there should be like, I wish there were like evaluations for people.
No, I definitely think that's like something, especially in this time period of like what's going on in the world. Like, I think there needs to be, I think there's a lot of people in place that, I've talked to that are really trying to put, because I don't think there's anything wrong with getting in at that age, but I think that also like.
They just don't know though. They don't have answers.
There needs to be somewhere you can get that guidance.
Yeah.
And be willing to take the guidance and also like be willing to implement that guidance. And it's all those aspects, but also like something that we could go to do that. I mean, there's things in our industry like a pineapple support, which is great. You can actually go there and discuss things, but from maybe people like that, I don't even want to, I can kind of put myself in the category that's been around a long time, made mistakes. A lot of them also did the right things. Like, how do we, hey, these are some of the mistakes that you don't have to make. These are, and having girls and guys who like really genuinely care because, about people coming in the business and want to see it grow and have healthier careers and journeys.
No, for sure. I'm doing a workshop right now on intimacy coordinating because I want to start doing that for sets.
Nice.
Intimacy coordinator,
like talent liaison.
Pretty much, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because every set I worked on in Europe. Well,
you're doing this for Lust?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, for Lust, I did a little bit when I was working for them in France.
That's cool.
Then Dorsal has the same thing, so I'm like, but it'd be cool if like more sets had that, because sometimes, again, like I'm a grown woman, so I feel like it's easier for me to really voice what I'm comfortable with, my boundaries. I'll even
Gamma has it. We have it.
Yeah, that's true.
Adult Time Sets have it. Brazzers has it. So there are like the lot. And those are the two biggest companies in business, and they're doing it. So it's just like it's getting everybody else trickling down to make sure that they're doing things to implement talent comfort.
Yeah.
No matter what that looks like, a coordinator, an intimacy technician, whatever like that thing is, it's just like that's really what it's about. It's just about like everybody coming to set and like, giving people the opportunity and the safety to feel like they can communicate without feeling any fear of backlash.
Yeah, or like get the fuck off set.
Yeah,
like,
kind of situation. Like
even though even when there aren't talent intimacy coordinators on set, I don't think I've ever felt like, oh, I can't voice my opinion because I'll get kicked off set.
No, but obviously you have a very you're willing to say what you need to say. That's important. You know what I mean? It's important.
I've only walked off set one time. But it was with someone who was just.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And that guy's on my no list. I was like,
you're
a very weird person. And then also, but then I felt a little bad because then I was like, I asked someone else. Well, like there's a few girls that are like, yeah, I don't like him. And I was like, but I also kind of feel like this dude's autistic. So I was like, maybe.
Possible.
Or had like a Tourette's or something because he just.
Tourette's?
Not Tourette's.
Asperger's? Shit. All right.
I don't think anybody. That'd be so fascinating if a porn star had Tourette's.
I'm sure, who knows? I don't know. Maybe like on a light level, some of them do. I don't know.
Sometimes I feel like,
no, you never know. I mean, look, at the end of the day, too, like, you don't know because, we all have stuff. Some people don't even know they have stuff.
Yeah, no, and this was like
Never been
early. This was
diagnosed, you know?
yeah, this was early. This was when I was still with an agent, and this was like, again, like I was just still learning everything, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm not doing this.
So that's awesome that you had the wherewithal to understand, like, hey, like I'm not comfortable here, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah,
And you
I was
didn't feel a
also
way out.
doing. I was also trying to do anything I could to leave said agency.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little did I know, all I had to do was tweet about Indian food and pooping, having a spicy butthole.
That's a very easy way to get out of an agency. Holy shit.
And then any girl that was trying to get out of that agency, when they would come to me, they're like, "How did you get out?" I was like, "I mean, you could try this, but they might."
I told him I had some curry.
Yeah, it's like I tweeted that
Holy
I had
shit.
the spicy runs, and they didn't like that and asked me to delete it, and I said no. And they were like, I think we should go separate ways. I was like, that would be lovely.
Oh, that's awesome. Mutual parting.
Mutual partying. Yeah.
That's good.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. Sometimes life just
Does what it needs to
surprise
for
you.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You surprise yourself
Everything
sometimes.
happens exactly the way it's supposed to.
Exactly. Let's see.
Where we at?
I know. What's the time?
52 minutes.
Oh, okay. Do you want to do your questions? Yeah. You picked up your mic, so I was like,
sorry.
want some producer questions?
You said earlier on that in the podcast that you were raised by like 2 Hispanic women.
No. I wasn't raised. I wasn't.
That's stuck in
I was
my
raised.
head.
I was raised by my parents, but I had when I was younger, like around up until about like 8 or 9 years old, I had 2 like nannies. They weren't at the same time, but there were like 2 women. One was when I was younger, and then one took over. When my parents were working a lot, they were kind of raising me, but like my parents were raising me too. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think
That
he
makes a lot
thought
more
you were
sense, 'cause
like,
in my head,
he's like, he
what
was
is that?
adopted by 2 Hispanic women.
I'm like, hey.
I was like, I was like going through all the scenarios. Like, how does this? I'm trying to make it make sense in my
No, they're like
head.
nannies, you know, maybe
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
You were raised by 2 Hispanic women?
Yeah.
He's just sitting there, just,
It was like blowing my mind. Why are we just moving past that?
Yeah,
didn't know
you
the
were
answer
like,
to
no.
that story.
yeah.
no, I honestly, that was my bad. I kind of just assumed it was a nanny situation,
Yeah.
but I guess
Well,
we should have
'cause-
elaborated.
Yeah, I was just being.
Yeah, so
Thanks
it
for
was a nanny.
asking.
They didn't actually
It
like
wasn't-
raise me. They
it
weren't
wasn't-
lovers or anything
Yeah,
weird.
he wasn't raised by
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Hispanic
I
lesbians.
wasn't like 50 Cent, a girl. I woke up with my mom kissing a girl or anything. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm too old. I got old lyrics from the 2000s.
I heard in an interview that you got your like stage name from a child or school friend.
I did.
Are you still friends with that person?
I mean, probably on Facebook,
Okay.
but
Do they know that?
yeah. I mean, I can tell the story. It's really
Yeah.
simple. I don't even know if they remember this moment. It was so long ago, but I was working for a company called Bang Bros. I'm sure if you watch adult, you've heard of this site.
Oh, yeah.
They did the infamous Bang Bus and all that stuff. And I was signed to this company for 2 years. And at the time when I first started with them, I didn't really care about anything except for like, oh, this is a cool job, you know. And like I kind of found a career that I could, you know, feel like I can work, and I was doing it. And they were like, what do you want your stage name to be? And I was like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And they were like, I just didn't have any like idea of what I wanted my name to be. And all of a sudden, I see my first scene come out, and they named me Dimitri Long, and I was like, "That's not a great name." And I
Then
was
you
like,
did care. All of a sudden, you cared.
"Huh?
After you saw Dimitri.
No,
Long,
I
it
didn't.
was
I didn't even
like-
care. I was like, weird choice, but
Weird
okay.
choice.
whatever, bro." And we kind of just went with it. And then it was weird because then then I had like a blowout haircut,
Oh.
and I looked like straight out of Jersey Shore. And I had like my family's from like all of them from New York, but we live in Florida, but like they all still have the twang. So I kind of had this like weird like New York, I live in the hood accent, because in Florida I was kind of, so I was like, yo, what's up, shorty? You know, like I had this whole thing going on at that age.
Oh my
And that's
God.
like, if you watch earlier stuff of me, like that's what I sounded like. And I had like a big gold chain. I like thought I was like really hard shit. I was like 18. And, but I had this blowout. So people started calling me like, I had this director who was a friend of mine for years, and he would call me Porcupine in the scene. So they would like have weird scenes called like the pine, they did like a cream pie scene, and it would be like the Porcupine
pie master.
Oh my
and shit.
God.
Like there were scenes like because Bang Bro's more like fun, jokey kind of shit.
Yeah.
And
They're more porny and corny.
and then what happened was all these directors they just could not fathom calling me Dimitri, so they just kept calling me Seth on camera. I was like, that's my real name. Why do you keep calling me Seth?
Yeah.
Like my real name is Seth. Like I don't have a problem with people knowing that. My real first name is Seth. And I then went to like it wasn't like a reunion or anything, like a high school reunion or anything like that. It was like just a party with a bunch of people I knew from like that age. So anyway, there was this girl named, her last name was Gamble. And I was like, yo, that's a dope ass name, Seth Gamble. That sounds dope. And she was like, you're not using my fucking name to be a fucking porn star. And I'm like, yeah, I fucking am. And she's like, and I was like, that's really, and we laughed about it. And she was like, well, fuck, you better actually be a fucking good one. You know what I mean? And then like, it kind of just went with it.
That's
you know what I mean?
amazing.
So, okay, it's kind of speaking on that. If you knew like day one of signing up to be a porn star that you would be one of the most recognizable male talents, do you think that would have changed your opinion on doing it?
No.
No?
I don't think I would have done this if I wasn't striving to be the most recognizable, one of the most, the thing is like about me is like, whenever I did anything in my life, like I strive to be the greatest of all time. I'm not saying I'm the greatest of all time. I don't think that way about myself, but the concept of striving for your legacy to try to be that and to reach for that bar. Like I set the bar so high for myself that like I had to like, once I got in this, there was like no, like I was gonna do it if it killed me. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
that makes 100%
there was no like question to me. Like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do everything I can and use every bit of being in me to be the best I could possibly be myself at this thing that I'm doing.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
So I don't know if at that time I would have believed I could have actually pulled it off. But seriously, but like I actually believed enough that I should. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like that was kind of like what it is. Like I wouldn't have changed it though at all.
Yeah. Okay. I still have one more question.
Okay.
To me, I couldn't fathom kind of like directing myself in an adult film.
Okay.
So how do you do that? Like when you're the director on a scene that you're working on and then you're also talent, like what's the thought process in your head? Like, is that difficult for you or is it like...
It's actually super easy.
Okay.
Generally speaking, when I'm doing the scene, I'm definitely booking or like being in the scene with someone like I have a good relationship with, good chemistry with, most of the time like amazing chemistry with. So that already is taken care of, right? So I'm not worried about that aspect of it. It's always pairing myself or anybody in the business. I want people to really want to work with each other. Generally speaking, most people I work with, we really click. Number two, I have an acting background. So if I'm doing any type of acting, like I'm really good at knowing what I need to do in those situations. And generally speaking, I'm writing something that I would be excited about doing. So then if I'm excited about doing it, I'm already like, it came out of my brain. So like, if I don't deliver what came out of my brain right for the camera, that's ridiculous to me.
Right.
Like there's no like other concept to that. Does it make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
I think the part that becomes complicated sometimes is that I can't really see I can't really see the shots that my camera's getting. So like I've had to like go through shoots with certain people I've worked with and like teach them through post, hey, start adjusting this to get the sex shot how I want it shot. Because that's something that's very important to me. I think there's a technique that I find is the best, that's my personal feeling, of how you're supposed to shoot a sex scene.
Okay.
So that's the part that becomes hardest because afterwards, I'm fingers crossed, the things I was showing them on camera, they were actually seeing what I was trying to show them, as opposed to just shooting what they think they should be shooting.
Yeah, that's brilliant because when I was sitting there thinking about it, I would get so inside of my head of like, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that, and then I have to like make sure other people know what they're doing, and then I'm also in front of the camera. But saying like, you're working with people that you have like great chemistry with already. to like cut out a lot of that. That's that's pretty smart.
Well, I think I'm very fortunate because at the end of the day, like, there's I've really built really great relationships with a lot of female performers. Where sometimes if I'm like, hey, I'm not in the scene, they get disappointed. I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, well, I thought I was working with you.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you know, so it's also getting that, like the girl wants to work with me, like I want to, you know, that's also very awesome. And there's some situations where I've known girls, like I've gotten to shoot girls that I've known for years who just happen to not do studio stuff anymore. And they'll be like, well, I really love your stuff and I want to do it. And they're like, I'm like, cool. Like, and I'll attempt to be like, hey, like, who do you want to work with? She's like, well, I want to work with you.
Yeah.
And then I get put that situation. So they're already wanting to work with me. So then it becomes a situation where I get a girl that I haven't seen in a while. We get to work together and then I get to shoot something cool with them. And then I'm really collaborative. So I really go over something to make them excited about it. Or sometimes they call me, like she called me and she was like, I got this cool idea. I said, yeah, let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
That's one of the coolest privileges.
Yeah, I've been learning about you guys' industry for like the past year as I've been getting ready to work with Lumi, and I do another podcast with a porn star. And your name comes up so much as someone who's like really respected and this is like a good person to work with. So I think that's like pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah,
means a lot.
Yeah, so I was pretty excited that you're coming in today. Okay. And I lied. I do have one more question for you.
Dude, you can give me more. I'm chilling.
Okay. I'm such a big music fan. Okay, and I know that you attempted to do it. Is that something that you still want to do?
It is.
It is?
I actually made an entire album.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Wait, when?
I never released it.
Really?
It's literally all in my phone.
Okay.
Like as we speak.
What's stopping you from releasing that?
I made it all before I got sober.
Oh, okay.
So my mindset, some of it's great because some of it, like I wrote a whole song about like how cocaine was a girl who was destroying my life.
Yeah.
So like I wrote like really like my stuff's very like I grew up on like East Coast hip hop. Like my favorite rap artist would probably surprise people. Like my favorite rap artist is AZ. He rapped on Nas's first album. It's called Life's a Bitch. There was a song called Life's a Bitch. He was the artist on that song. So it's like I grew up on very East Coast conscious, not just conscious, but like street and conscious hip hop. So like my hip hop style was very like ingrained with that. So it was like when I play, even to this day, if I play a song for someone, they're like, "That's not fucking you, you nice looking white Jewish boy." You know what I mean? They're like, you don't know what I lived. You know what I mean? So,
that's funny.
But you know, it's something I'm super passionate about. It's just really difficult because, like, for example, like I made this album with this one person, and he vanished, never mastered any of the music. All the music was sampled beats, so I can't really put it out unless it's like a mixtape.
Right.
So I'd have to remix those, and then it's also finding someone I could just sit and jam in the studio with and just take time and write and make music. So it's like finding the time to like just sit there and do it.
Yeah.
And find people who are like interested in doing it with me, and it's not like, hey, I want to charge you $2,000 to make every song, and like, you know, like it's not a whole thing. It's like someone who would be passionate with me to make it. Because at the time, bro, I was like, it was a guy who just happened to produce for some major artist who was in a studio with another major artist that I just happened to be partying with, and he was like, yo, man, like, you want to make some music? And I was like, dope. And then he ended up like moving in. I built a studio in my room, and we got fucked up for a year and did music.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. So now now this is out there and it's out in the universe. I mean, now you have to put something out. You have to at least make something soon and put it out there.
Find me someone who produces stuff, or if someone find me someone who produces stuff and wants to actually do something with me, I would love that.
Literally, I mean, we could do that. I mean, we're friends with someone who produces music. Anthony, I'm gonna put him on the spot, is an amazing lyric writer. I actually stole him from the music industry to force him to help me on this.
You're a lyric writer?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I write my own lyrics.
Yeah.
I just need
We also do know like producers like with studios and stuff like that.
No, I love that. And I actually won't make music that I don't write.
Okay.
I just won't. It's not real. It's actually old hip hop style. Like, you know, there's artists now that like don't really write their own stuff, but they deliver it really well and it sells really well.
Right.
And I think that's great. They're artists. They're not like they're entertainers. But there's an artist and there's an entertainer. I guess, right?
Yeah, no, I get that. Okay. All right, well, we'll force you to put the album out now.
Find someone to produce it, I'll fucking do it.
Okay. All right. I think that's all we got question-wise now.
Awesome.
So thank you so much.
Well, where can the fans find you?
My address is, no, I'm kidding.
I don't know if you want that.
Well, my X is Seth Gamble XXX. You can also find on my X, which is my new company alongside with Siren Obscura, and my creative mind child that I've been wanting to do for many years. It's called Lucid Flix. On Twitter, on X is at LUCID Flix, FLIX. So it's Lucid Flix is one word. You can find me on Instagram at Seth Gamble PS. That's one word. It's not Seth Gambleips. It's Seth Gamble PS, but it's just one thing. And then I also Lucid Flix also has an Instagram, and it's at LucidFlix _. I have a OF whatever, and that's Seth Gamble XXX. You can find some stuff on there sometimes when I post on it. You can find me at wicked.com, where I am, the main director. You can find me at adulttime.com, which by the time this is released, we'll understand, like, I've been with the company, but now I'm officially an Adult Time ambassador. So you can find me ambassading for, I don't know if that's a word, but I'm ambassading for Adult Time, and, just kind of like being a proponent of, like, growth with talent and growth with the business, and Adult Time is a great avenue for that. So you can find me at adulttime.com, wicked.com, lucidflix.com, X, Instagram. I have a TikTok I never use, so I don't really know even the handle of it. You can find me, like, hanging around the streets of LA. So, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not there, but you never know.
You can find me on X at Lumi Ray with 2 Y's, at Lumi_Ray on Instagram, at Lumi Ray OnlyFans, and that's it for today. So thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yay.
Yay.